All right, so I'm going to be doing part two of this. So originally I did this sun angles diagram down here. It took many days to go and get it all put together through SketchUp and all that sort of stuff. But some people probably don't understand it, and believe it or not, some people have actually thought I've just simply, you know, drawn some sort of 180-degree thing and that this is a measurement or something. It's like, fuck, no, it's not. It's not. Anyway, so what I thought I might do, right? So I've just drawn a random, you know, 100,000 radius circle. So it's got nothing to do with any particular size whatsoever. It's just a nice even 100,000 mil circle. And what I'm going to do is these double lines here that represents 100,000 units. So I don't even know if this dimension is going to come up. No, it doesn't. But I mean, I can show you anyway. As you can see, 100,000, right? So just a generic amount. What I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer all these up onto this diagram, and I'm going to extend down their angular line, which is basically this one here. So when I send the line up, I'll extend this one to the full 10,000 long, and I'm going to place it on this particular diagram. So obviously I'm going to stick it into top speed, and I'll come back when I've solved the problems. All right, back to normal speed. So what I did was I took this first line up here, and I initially extended it to the full distance. And then I figured that instead of just doing it over and over and over again, I just copied the one line and put it down here. So that's why that particular line stayed there. So that is the 100,000 millimeter line. So I figured I would just copy that instead. I brought them over to here, and what I wanted to do is I just drew a dead straight line, and I wanted to align the actual grey lines with this grey line here. And what it did, I might show you another one again in slow time so people can watch what's going on. So if I copy this line and I grab the bottom line and I bring it across to here, and if I type in a line, what I do is I pick one point to be aligned with something, and I pick another line to be aligned with another thing, and it just magically pops to where it's supposed to. It just magnetizes itself to the actual line. So that's how I align that. And once that line was aligned, and I had my green going in one particular direction, because I knew that the radius of this was 100,000 millimeters and the green line itself is 100,000 millimeters, I just simply snapped it straight into the center of this target point, and I basically have, located roughly where these cities should be on a globe. Because what would happen is that the sun was setting down these particular lines. So the sun went from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. to 6 to 7. In fact, one thing I might do is I might go and copy this again, but I'll do it with the suns this time round. So we get the 6 p.m., 7 p.m. and that. We'll go up and we will align it. Snap to that point there, snap to there, snap to that point there, up to there. Now what we've got here, so you see Ushuaia is on the left, which is Ushuaia is on the left, that's fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of the suns and only the suns, and I'm going to snap it to the green line and bring it across here, and snap it in there. So as you can see, what's happening here, right, is 3 p.m. sun is up here. And as this planet is rolling, right, this 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., that's how the sun is setting on this particular angle. And I'm sure people can go out there and see if they can go and get some sort of like a YouTube video of a sun setting in a particular city, and just watch which angle it's cutting in at. If you rotate the video of a particular sun, like say if it's for instance it's setting in Paris, and you rotate it to make the sun straight, like up vertically on the actual on the drawing, then you'll see that the surface of the ground in Paris is actually pitched, and it would be pitched to what this would particularly be. So if anyone goes and finds a Paris sunset, it would be pitched as if the horizon was on this particular plane right here, because this one here is Paris. So the sun would come down and it would hit on that particular angle. So if you actually look at a sunset and you can figure out which angle it's actually cutting in at, you'll actually know which latitude. I'm pretty sure it's longitude. Sorry, which longitude it's actually come in. Now, I figured this diagram here is best shown because what it's basically showing is, if you can imagine this entire circle being a ball that's rolling across the floor. It's rolling across the floor, and all the suns are all like striking in. Well, sorry. When you are viewing a sunset, the ball, if you're on a ball, you're rolling away, right? So if you're standing on top of the ball, you're falling backwards, right? You're only falling forwards when you're actually doing a sunset. So if you're falling backwards, that means that what you see in front of you is slowly falling down in front of your eyes towards the surface, and it hits that particular surface and like goes below the actual ball, because you're starting to look at the ceiling above you, because what you were looking at in front of you is now disappearing from view. Now I picked it up and I rotated it 9 degrees because I figured that this is probably the way people might see things today. So if we were to imagine that the planet is dead square, so as in this is north and that's south, as you can see here, Longyearbyen, Norway, right up next to the polar Arctic Circle, right? Oslo, pretty high up in the northern, right? Paris, pretty high up. Cairo, somewhere in the middle there, right? Bangkok is up in the northern hemisphere. It's above the equator. The equator's right here, right? Jakarta, just below the equator. I'm sorry these texts is all upside down, but that's just what happened when it came down to it. Sao Paulo in Brazil, down the southern hemisphere. Melbourne, where I am, southern hemisphere. And of course Ushuaia from South America. That is the lowest, like, proper sort of livable landmass in pretty much the whole planet, apart from maybe just a couple of little towns. And that's just totally disregarding anything in Antarctica at all. So we're not including any bases whatsoever. We're talking about where civilians can live. So Ushuaia is being one of the lowest cities down in South America, and that seems to be where we can get the most. We can get an unbiased view on how the sun is setting, because I'm sure most flat earthers will disregard any particular data that comes out of Antarctica. So yeah, as you can see here, it all looks pretty consistent with their rough locations on the side of the globe. Would you agree? So this is how I felt it needed to be described, and needed to be explained why these angles exist. So this is why these angles exist. The sun is setting for all of these cities, and the way that they view them is directly proportional to the actual angle that they're on the planet. All right, thanks for listening.